July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. Today, I want to take a look at the challenges facing the young black boys and black men in our communities. Many are growing up seeing things that no child should have to witness. Aaron Mallory sees the mental health challenges that these people face every single day, and he's joining me to talk more about it. Aaron is the founder and CEO of Grow Community. They work with young men dealing with mental health challenges. Aaron, my brother, so good to have you on theGrio. Thank you for being here. You compare what some of these children, and they are children, face with the trauma that a veteran faces coming home from war.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and it shouldn't be the normal for a lot of our black and brown young men living within the inner city communities or in different cities across the country. And so we're really trying to address this. And when we think about particularly gun violence within inner city communities, definitely looking at it from a mental health lens and really just helping our community, particularly our boys and our men, get that support that they need.
For some people, that's hard to wrap their minds around. They understand you go off to Vietnam, or you go off to the Persian Gulf, or you go off to Iraq, and you see awful tragedies, you see death, you see violence, you feel uncertainty, unsafety. They can see that, and we see the material impact of that, the physical impact of that on soldiers who return home from war. But for some people, they're like, oh, growing up in Chicago, growing up in Philly, growing up in Atlanta, growing up in Houston, New Orleans, whatever, that ain't it. This ain't, South Central ain't Fallujah. How do you make that connection for them so that people see that you're not just being dramatic or hyperbolic when you make a claim like that?
Yeah, well, like a lot of young people that we work with have lost multiple friends due to just gun violence, right? I have young people that tell me like, hey, I can't walk down certain streets because if I walk down that street, that could mean my life, right? I got young people who tell me like, hey, I'm not riding the CTA. So we call the CTA the Chicago Transit Authority. That's the buses that run in Chicago. But I would say 85% of young people that we work with, they saying like, no, I'm not riding the CTA because that's an opportunity for somebody who I may be into it with who could potentially retaliate or attack me. And when they say retaliate, it's not, hey, we about to fight. That means they're going to shoot me or they're going to kill me, right? And so like you see this issue where people in these communities, particularly our young boys and our men, are scared because they know that, hey, their life could be in danger or that could cause some challenges. I think secondly, too, particularly in cities like Chicago, but across the country, we talk about clearance rates. Clearance rates means homicides or non-fatal shootings that are solved, right? So in the city of Chicago, you have a 51% chance that if you kill somebody in Chicago, you get away with it, right? We think about the clearance rate for non-fatal shootings. There's an 8% clearance rate, right? So there's a 92% chance that if you shoot somebody in the city of Chicago, you can get away with it. And so in our community, these black boys, they may not know the data like that, but they know that, hey, I got friends who've been shot or killed and that perpetrator's still out there. They haven't been brought in. That's a real trauma, that's real harm, and that's your everyday, right? And we think about this, the United States of America, right? Like there's black boys that are being killed, they're dying every day. When we think about the number one cause of death for black men between the ages of 14 to 45, it's homicide, right? Like it's crazy, and it's disproportionately higher as compared to any other race in this country. And so like when you think about it, every day there's black boys that are walking around and they're scared because they want to live, and hey, it may not be the case for them that, they may become a victim of gun violence, right? So when we correlate this to the PTSD that somebody overseas is dealing with, is very, very similar, right? If you live in a community where you hear gunshots every night, right? And on top of that, people have been lost, right? That creates a certain type of hypervigilance that you have to have as you walk around your community, how you navigate. Again, things that shouldn't be normal in the United States of America, but it's been normalized in our black community for some reason. I don't know, I think that's a whole nother conversation, but I think we really got to get to the root cause. And our hope is that by providing mental health and helping these young men navigate their space and finding spaces of safety to help process this trauma, we can help them heal and become, just guided within their communities.
The we you keep talking about is GROW, which stands for God Restoring Order. That's the organization that you represent. How did you decide to make this move? How did you decide to bring this organization about? Why?
Yeah, so, I think like the very short story of it was when I was in undergrad, I remember so I don't know if you're familiar with Darian Albert. So he was a young black boy that was killed during an altercation at Finger High School. And this was something that was real big at my university. We talked about a lot of people who went to my university, SIU, Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. We're from Chicago. I came back and I said, hey, I want to be part of the change, started getting involved, organizing, being a part of events, creating programs. And then I learned about counseling, mental health. I got my master's in social work. And when I finished with my master's, I started being a clinician, working with particularly Black boys in the inner city. And I started going to their homes. I started seeing the toxic stress and trauma in the household. I started seeing disparities in the households, disparities within the school systems. And I also recognized that there was a lack of positive male figures for these boys that I was working with. And so I said, hey, it would be great if we create a team of Black male clinicians where we can go out and address the needs and challenges and having somebody they can relate to, somebody they can connect to, just being a positive male figure, but also understand the clinical nuances to really create change and help, particularly the boys and men in our community. And that was the impetus, started in March. I really went full forward with this March 13, 2020, full time, and it's just grown ever since.
Well, it's grown into an organization that is powerful, that is resonating in our community, and that is giving you all much needed and much deserved attention for your critical intervention into our community. What you're doing in Chicago, I imagine, I hope, I dream will be spread throughout the world so that you can continue to give the type of healing, the type of care, the type of attention, the spotlight that Black men and boys deserve in this country. Aaron Mallory, founder and CEO of Grow Community, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you again for all the work that you are doing.